Before we jump into learning about neural networks and deep networks, we're first going to explore how we can actually set up a coding environment so that these will all run smoothly. I'm going to recommend that you set up your environment with Anaconda because for different machine learning projects, you'll need different libraries, and Anaconda allows you to create virtual environments, which makes things very easy to organize your environments to make sure that you don't get any conflicts and just to make sure that nothing goes wrong. So you will need to download and install Anaconda, and there are a couple of different ways that you can create a virtual environment. You can use Anaconda Navigator, or you can use the Anaconda command prompt. So I'm going to talk you through exactly how you do this later on in the video, but for now, just know that you need this conda create -- name my env or my environment or whatever you want to name it. So that it's as simple as that. If you're wanting to do something from a command prompt, it's even easier to do it through the navigator. So once you've created your environment, you can then install additional packages using either the conda command or using the pip command. Or you can create the environment from a list of packages that have already been defined somewhere else. Often this will come in the form of an environment.yaml file or in the form of a requirements.txt file. One massive benefit that this is going to give you, particularly if you are going to be working in groups, is that you can generate, whoever creates your repository, you can generate one of these environment.yaml files. For everyone else, it'll be as simple as creating the environment with this environment.yaml code, or maybe it's better to say with this line of code. There might be a couple of teething problems, but it won't be any more difficult than that. And the benefit of that is that this way you can guarantee that everyone is working from exactly the same libraries. So I remember when I was just starting off with machine learning, and I was in a group of 3, and we were working on one system, which then stopped working. So we tried to convert all of our code onto a new system, but somehow our accuracy had dropped by about 20%, which is a massive accuracy drop. So what you can do to protect against this is actually just work within these virtual environments and then export the virtual environment, and you'll be guaranteed to be working with essentially an identical environment as you were on the first PC. So this can ensure, in your case, that every single member of the whole team will be working with the same packages, and you won't be wasting time trying to get someone up another 10% because something's gone wrong in installing these libraries. The other thing, of course, is it's going to massively help myself and Matt when it comes to marking these, because we need to verify that the code runs as well as you're claiming in your documentation. And if we can create your environment with just one line in a command prompt, then that makes that whole situation much easier for us, and you guarantee that nothing's going to go wrong, or you can come as close as possible to guaranteeing that nothing's going to go wrong. Something always goes wrong with tech projects, but this is going to be your best bet, and that can help ensure that we ourselves aren't going to get that same 20% random performance drop due to a mismatch of libraries. So highly recommend that you learn how to create a virtual environment with Anaconda for your projects. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the Anaconda Navigator and or with the command prompt, whatever you prefer, following this. Like I said before, there's two ways of creating a virtual environment. Both of them are going to be using Anaconda. I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic piece of software. The first is using Anaconda Navigator. What you're going to do is click on Environments, and you're just going to click this Create button here. Then you're going to type in your environment name. I'm just going to go with 5012 Navigator for this one. And I'm going to select Python 3.7 as the baseline for this environment. So you create and then you just wait. So now you can see that our environment has been created. And I'll just talk you through a couple of the things that you can do with this. So if you want to clone this environment to a new one, just to try one additional library without risking screwing everything up, then you can clone and type in a new environment name. You can also import a different environment to create a new environment from one of those environment.yml files that I showed before. And here you would just link to that environment.yml file. And then if you want to add additional libraries, because you can see here that even though we've got Python 3.7 and we've got a couple of others, we don't have stuff like NumPy, stuff like sklearn. So I'm going to take this installed and move to not installed and then search for NumPy, and I'll click that and then just click apply. So the nice thing about Anaconda is if there are any conflicts, it will automatically update the other libraries that are in your environment so that it can fit in the new thing that you're trying to install. So you just click apply. So now that we can see that NumPy is installed in our environment, we can go back to home and then choose how we want to use this environment. So applications on KF5012, the environment we've just created. And then if we want to use a Jupyter Notebook, then we just install Jupyter Notebook within that environment. Or if you prefer not to use notebooks, if you prefer to use a regular Python IDE, then you can use Spider here. Personally, I use PyCharm. You could also use VS Code. I like PyCharm, but PyCharm doesn't show up within Navigator. PyCharm's a little bit more difficult to set up. You can find out how to do that online, or if you want to use PyCharm, just ask me. So once Jupyter Notebook has been installed, you can just launch it. And then this will open Jupyter and you can navigate to your Jupyter Notebook. The other way to create a virtual environment is by using the Anaconda PowerShell. So just type this in, and instead of going for Navigator, you go for the PowerShell. Then from here you can use this Conda cheat sheet. So I'm gonna make this bigger so you can see. So from here, if you want to create a new environment, you type in, you follow this essentially. So it's Anaconda create, and then you have this double dash to denote a variable. And we're going to go with name, and we're going to call this one KF5012 PowerShell. And then again, we're going to ask for Python 3.7, so we're going to specify that. These are all the packages that the Navigator installed to start off with. So we're going to click proceed. So you just type in yes. Now to get into this environment, you just type conda activate and then the name of your environment. So usually you wouldn't call your environment something that's this annoying to type, because you might find yourself typing it a few times. You just call it something which is short and easy. So if you want to install new libraries to this environment, you can simply type in conda install numpy, and then if we want scikit-learn, we can add that on as well. And then same as before, it will tell you which new packages are going to be installed, and it also checks for any conflicts. So once you're happy, you just click Y. And you're done.